Hi there, glad you can make it. This is Magic with Class, and today is the third part of a video where I am going over all of the cards that I purchased in an eBay lot. It was 1,000 bulk rare cards. He said it was mostly bulk, with, with a decent duplication rate and a few mythics, tossed in there. So I've been going over some of these cards, and so far I'm pretty happy with the results. So I'm gonna continue showing you what exactly I purchased, and you can tell me if it was worth it, if I got ripped off. So I think the card that I left off on was this one, the foil bristling hydra from Kaladesh, and there was actually two. So I'm going to continue from there. And the next card is a mythic, a foreign mythic. This could be Japanese, but I am not 100% sure. But I do know this is Geth, Lord of the Vault. And this is the Scars of Moradin printing. Kind of a bulk mythic though. And it has been reprinted. So, not bad though. The next one is actually a new card. I believe this card is exclusive to Jumpstart. Actually, I have to read it because I don't even know what this does. It's called Blessed Sanctuary. It's an enchantment for 5, 3 and 2 white. Prevent all non-combat damage that would be dealt to you and creatures you control. So that's pretty good. And whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, create a 2/2 white unicorn creature token. And I'm just going to show it right here. Very interesting. I actually do not know what this is worth. But I do know the mythic rare unicorn is actually quite expensive. I think it's climbing close to $50. So this is a must-have in that commander deck. I know they haven't made too many unicorns, but I believe they're a fantasy staple. So we'll probably be seeing more unicorns in the future, especially since everyone seems to really enjoy the legendary unicorn from Jumpstart. Oh, and here's another mythic, a Chroma Angel of Wrath. And this is not the original printing. So it's a 6/6 for 8 mana, 5 of anything, and 3 white. And it just has a bunch of keywords. It has like almost every keyword at the time of its printing. Flying, first strike, vigilance, trample, haste, protection from black and from red. It's unique because among mono white cards, this is the only white creature to my knowledge that actually has the haste ability. Well, another mythic. This one is not in great condition though. This is from Throne of Eldraine. The Cauldron of Eternity. And this was actually important in the story because in the beginning of the story, the two planeswalkers, Willa and Rowan Kenrith, were actually killed as babies and they were resurrected using this cauldron. Not only that, Garruk, actually was restored using this artifact. I've seen this actually played quite a bit in Commander, but I actually do not like it. I don't like it very much. For one, it costs 12, which is a ton. However, for every creature card in your graveyard, you can reduce the cost by 2. So, if you have 5 creatures in your graveyard, this will cost 2 black mana. And it still does nothing. You have to pay an additional 3 mana, one which is black, and you have to tap it, and you have to pay 2 life, and then you just get a creature card from your graveyard. Is it your graveyard or any graveyard? Nope. It doesn't even allow you to target your opponent's graveyards. It's only your graveyard. Yes, this is a continuous reanimation card. You can use it over and over. But for the cost, I just don't think this is that powerful. Could be wrong. Increasing Devotion. This is a card that I've always liked. Just creates 5/1/1 humans. But if you flash it back for 9 mana, you get double that, so 10 humans instead. And I think this is very good for like token type decks because it gives you 5 tokens for just 1 card. Next one is Amplifier. This is from one of the newer Ravnica cassettes. Not great. I don't think it'll see much play in anything. Chandra's Regulator. Now this is a card I actually do like. This card specifically works with Chandra. Whenever you activate a loyalty ability of Chandra Planeswalker, you may pay 1 of anything. If you do copy that ability, that's actually very strong. So each turn that you activate a Chandra ability by just playing 1 additional mana while this card is out, you get to get that ability twice. And I should tell you that copying Planeswalker loyalty abilities is very strong. Not many cards in the game can do that. And it has another ability on top of that. For 1 and a tap, you can discard a mountain or a red card and draw a card. So it also allows you to, if you don't have Chandra on the field, you can search for her. Next card is Mizium Tank. It's a vehicle. The only thing I really have to say about this card is that it's a colored vehicle. I guess they were nervous because of Smuggler's Copter and Heart of Kirin. They wanted to make sure that if they did make a powerful vehicle by accident, that it was at least limited by color. And here's 2 more Bristling Hydra foils. So maybe he got these when they were like very expensive or more expensive, and now that they're more bulk, he decided to get rid of them. Now this is a confusing card, Embodiment of Agonies. So when it enters, it gets +1/+1 for each unique mana cost in your graveyard. I actually think this card is just too confusing. But it is a very low mana cost demon. So maybe in a demon tribal deck, if demons ever get some tribal support. And it does have both flying and death touch. So even if you can only get it to be a 1/1, it can defend you pretty well. Now this is an interesting card. Cartographer's Hawk. And this is their attempt to give white access to more powerful abilities, especially in Commander. This is actually a ramp card in white. And, you know, white has a few cards that can ramp. But I think this is just too costly. I think I would much rather just play a Mana Rock. Or if I'm playing green, I think any green ramp is better than this. But still, I guess in mono white. Here's another one of these cards that are better in Commander, especially if you have a whole bunch of opponents. Because at the beginning of each upkeep, both yours and any opponents you may have, you can, draw a card and lose 1 life? Yep. So basically, if you play this out and you have 3 opponents, by the time it gets back to you, you would have drawn 4 cards just off of this 1 creature, so that's decent. And it's an elemental in black, which is not too common. But I think we can expect to see a 5-color Omnith sometime in the future. It only makes sense, and Omnith is very, very ubiquitous right now. So I definitely think they want to capitalize on that. I don't think the 5-mana Omnith is going to be particularly... The 5-color Omnith, I should say that they're going to release in the future. I'm pretty confident. Probably won't be on the same power level as the Omnith Locust Creation they just banned. So next card, 10 mana. Stormherd creates 1/1 white Pegasus creatures, where X is your life total. So if you have 30 life, and in Commander you start with 40, so it's not so far-fetched. This could put 30 flying 1/1s onto the battlefield. Decent in like a life gain deck. Decent in a token deck. And if Pegasus Tribal ever becomes a thing, and not so far-fetched, I would keep an eye on this. Next one is a Commander card. Interesting. Ends the combat phase, and it prevents your opponent from casting spells this turn. So it's like a silence and like a fog kind of stapled onto each other. Not bad in white. Divine Reckoning. This card is from Commander. It was originally released in one of the Innistrad sets. And it's a type of mass removal. It's a field wipe in a way. Ragnar Sanction. Now this was part of a cycle where you could choose friend or foe, and your opponent would get the corresponding effect whether you chose friend or whether you chose foe. And I believe the friend one was always beneficial. So if you're playing in teams or someone's like really behind and you want to help them out, you would probably choose friend. And if someone is way too far ahead, you would choose foe, because foe usually gave a negative effect. Interesting. Next one is Sublime Epiphany. I actually think this saw, or might still be seeing, some play in Standard. It costs a lot. It does cost 6 mana, so I was hesitant to think that this was going to see a high level of play. But it's like a counterspell that's like so many other things are stapled onto it, that the versatility just makes it worth it, especially in Commander. I can see that card getting play in like Baral, Chief of Compliance decks, or any other deck that focuses on instants and sorceries or countering spells. Next one is Leonin Abunas. Artifacts you control have hexproof. The only thing about this card that I don't like is that it's not an artifact creature itself. So it kind of lowers the synergy of your deck to use too many cards in an artifact deck that are not artifacts. However, maybe this can see play in some sort of cat deck, and it's also a cleric. Because cats do use equipment cards. There are cats that focus on equipments, and equipments are artifacts. Blade Splicer. So when it enters, you get a 3/3 golem, and all golems you control have first strike. This is probably the best out of the splicers. There was a bunch of them, and they all produce a golem or more than one golem, and the golems are always 3/3. And then on top of that, they have like a lord effect that they give the golems some sort of boost. I think the best splicers were actually in white, but there's a new legendary creature with partner that's been leaked for the Commander Legends set, and it's a green legendary splicer. So this card at one point was like maybe $5. It's maybe 50 cents or less now. But if people are looking to build that splicer deck, I think they're going to need that card. It's one of the better splicers. Ironcrag Pyromancer. So basically, if you draw your second card, each turn it does 3 damage to any target, so it lightning bolts. I wish it said if you drew like your second card or beyond, like allowing you to use this ability over and over, but that's not what it does. After you draw your second card, the effect activates, and then no matter how many more cards you draw during that turn, the ability will not activate again. Okay, this is another mythic rare, but it's bulk. It's a 4/4 angel, pristine angel. Has flying, and as long as it's untapped, you have protection from artifacts and all colors, but only if it's untapped. However, it can untap itself, because whenever you cast a spell, if this is tapped, you untap it. I wish this was like a 5/5 or more, or it had another ability in addition to the abilities it does have, but protection from both artifacts and all colors means it pretty much has protection from almost everything. Not colorless cards though. Thalia's Geist Caller. This came in I think the deck that was like based on Flashback. Whenever you cast a spell from your graveyard, creates a 1/1 spirit, and you can sacrifice the spirit. and then this card will gain indestructible. So it's actually not a bad, it's a free sacrifice outlet for spirits. So maybe in some sort of spirit tribal deck, or I guess maybe in some sort of flashback deck, this would be okay. I think most flashback decks wouldn't really play white unless they were running the commander that this card came in. Okay, another mythic. So there's quite a few mythics. Sun Titan, I don't think it needs any introduction. This was one of the 5 Titans. This one was considered, I think, one of the weaker ones. Obviously, Primeval Titan was probably the strongest. Infernal Titan was decent as well. Frost Titan was considered, I think, the worst in the cycle. This might be like the second worst. Grave Titan was also very strong. Grave Titan still sees a ton of commander play. This actually sees a lot of commander play as well. Tuk Tuk the Explorer, a legendary creature goblin. So when it has the 1/1 with haste, but when it dies, you get a 5/5 artifact creature. This was originally released in the original Zendikar sets, one of the first 3. The flavor is interesting. He goes exploring, gets killed in some sort of trap or by some sort of magical artifact, but the artifact transforms him into an artifact creature, and then when he returns, he's this 5/5 artifact creature stronger than ever. I don't think I would play this in a goblin tribal deck even though. And I don't think I would really play him as the commander. But if you have a commander deck based around this card, or you have a deck that features this card, let me know in the comments. Okay, this one is an adventure, and I'll just say that I think people are getting a little tired of seeing adventure decks. They just banned Lucky Clover, so I don't think we will be seeing adventures quite as frequently as we were. This is decent. The adventure side destroys a creature with power 4 or greater, so that's decent. And it only costs 1 to cast, and it can lock down your opponent's best creature every turn as long as you have the mana to do so. Another mythic, Finale of Glory, creates 2/2s for whatever you pay in X, and they have vigilance, but if X is 10 or more, you create 4/4 angels instead with flying. Not bad. This was part of a cycle in War of the Spark. The white one is decent. I think I would run this in like a token deck. I think I would mostly play it to get the 2/2 soldiers though. I think I would just consider it like a super lucky experience if I was able to get out the angels. Starfield Mystic. So for 2 mana in white, it allows you to reduce the cost of all enchantments by 1. And whenever you play an enchantment, you get to put a +1/+1 counter on it. So it works very well with auras, because every time you attach an aura with it, not only is the aura 1 less to cast, but if you attach the aura to this creature, it's going to get a +1/+1 counter, in addition to whatever benefits the aura has. But it's not limited to auras. There are quite a few cards, especially in white, that reduce the cost of enchantments. This is one of the better ones. I actually thought this was from Theros Beyond, but it was actually from M20. And someone actually did tell me what this set symbol, not the M20 set symbol, the one above it, means. So go check out that comment on one of my other videos if you want to know why this little stamp is here. Induce Amnesia. So I don't want to talk about what the card actually does. I'm just gonna talk about what's going on in the art. So basically, at the end of Ixalan block, Vraska and Jace became friends, and maybe even a little bit more than that. And I really liked their friendship relationship. in Ixalan. I think it really gave Jace some great character development. And same thing with Vraska. It actually really made me want to see more of Vraska, and I kind of thought she was like one or two dimensional villain or character. Since then, she's become something of a hero. Maybe you would consider her an anti-hero. But basically, at the end of the Ixalan story, she chose to allow Jace to erase parts of her memory so that she could become a sleeper agent against Nicobolus. Okay, this is Ruinous Path. This sorcery speed, Hero's Downfall. This is, I guess, like a promo, but this is not the original art. I'm thinking this is a promo. So it's not as good as Hero's Downfall because it's a sorcery instead of an instant. But if you cast for its awakening cost, you can get a 4/4. You can turn a 4/4. You can turn a land into a 4/4 creature, but that's not worth the trade-off. Yahenni's expertise. I actually really liked Yahenni as a character. She was one of the Aetherborn, and she was actually a very important character in the Kaladesh set. She was a Aetherborn vampire, so she was one of the few Aetherborn that actually had the ability to drain life. And the card in itself is very good. Never underestimate a card that's free to cast. So, that's all the time I have for today. This is Magic with Class, and I'm Jeremy Class, always reminding you to gather with class.